Hello everyone and welcome back. Today we are diving into the world of early aviation pioneers and their quest to conquer the skies with heavier than aircraft. In our previous episode, we explored the concept of lighter than aircraft, which are airplanes that are supported by gases like hydrogen and helium. These are lightweight gases that kept the aircraft on Earth. And guys, if I'm right, these gases made them lighter than their surrounding air. But in today's episode, we are gonna shift our focus to crafts that fly based on their own weight and power to stay airborne, rather than using gases to lift and sustain them in the skies. With the what I've been talking about lighter than air, heavier than air, well, I guess a lot of you might be asking if air has weight. Well, yeah, the answer is yes. Air has weight. A scientist named Galileo Galilei experimented on air and proved that air has weight. And guys, you can check out the third episode of this series for Galileo Galilei's contribution to aviation. And guys, these early pioneers, that's the pioneers that worked on the lighter than aircraft, faced challenges with the efficiency of those crafts, leading to innovations in heavier than air aviation. To achieve flight, they needed a deeper understanding of the forces acting on objects in the air, and this knowledge, known as the principles of aerodynamics, paved the way for advancements in aviation. And in this episode, that's in today's video, we'll delve into the stories of these pioneers. Now we are talking about the pioneers that worked on heavier than aircrafts and their darling attempts to take flight. While some names might sound familiar to you from our previous episodes, we'll now explore their endeavors in details. And guys, I will encourage you to join us in this exciting journey through aviation history. And stay tuned for future episodes where we'll delve into the advancements of other aviation pioneers like George Cayley and the Wright brothers. But for now, let's uncover the remarkable stories of those who dared the dream of flying before anyone else. And guys, let's get started. The concept of a parachute dates back centuries, with Leonardo da Vinci sketching designs in his notebook, which wasn't known until much later in 1595, when the Croatian inventor Fausto Veranzio published a design for a flying man parachute in his book. Fast forward to December 26, 1783, when Louis Sebastian Lenormand made the first witness descent with a parachute. Then, between 1853 and 1854, Louis Charles later developed a parachute glider, and the journey from Da Vinci's sketches to modern-day skydiving with parachutes is a fascinating evolution of the parachute. And guys, we move on to the evolution of men carrying or men lifting kites in aviation history. Kites have been important in aviation history, especially for lifting people and instruments. Gaston Bayer created a man-lifting kite in 1868, and Captain Baden-Powell developed hexagonal kites in 1894. Lawrence Hargrave's box kite, invented in 1893, and Neil McDermott's flight in the Frost King box kite in 1905 were significant advancements. Samuel Franklin Cody improved on Hargrave's design, creating powerful man-lifting systems with multiple kites on a single line. His works with kites adopted by the British Army in 1908 contributed to advancements in manned glider kites and powered kites, which laid the groundwork for the development of aeroplanes. Guys, I kind of provided a brief summary of the kite and parachute because they're not really what we want to look into in today's episode, though they kind of contributed and inspired modern day aviation. And with that being said, the main focus of today's video is the early flying machines of the 17th and 18th centuries. In the 17th century, Giovanni Alfonso Borelli and Robert Hooke independently rediscovered Da Vinci's realization that manpower alone couldn't sustain flight. Hooke understood that an engine of some sort was needed, and in 1655 he created a model ornithopter powered by a spring that could apparently fly. Attempts to design or construct a true flying machine began, typically comprising a gondola with a supporting canopy and spring, or man-powered flappers for propulsion. Among the first were Hodge and Burattini in 1648. In 1647, Italian inventor Tito Livio Burattini, invited by the Polish king Vladislav to his court in Warsaw, created a model aircraft with 4 fixed glider wings. This aircraft, described as having 4 pairs of wings attached to an elaborate dragon, reportedly lifted a cat in 1648. Although Burattini himself did not fly, he assured that landing the craft would only result in minor injuries. Burattini's creation, known as the Dragon Volant, is recognized as the most intricate and advanced airplane constructed before the 19th century. In 1716, Emanuel Swedenborg proposed a flying machine consisting of a lightweight frame covered in sturdy canvas, equipped with 2 large wings. These wings would move on a horizontal axis, allowing the upstroke to meet minimal resistance while the downstroke generally take lift. Guys, I don't know, but do you think that this man was talking about creating a wing shape like an aerofoil? Let me know your answers in the comment section. Emanuel Swedenborg understood that the machine wouldn't fly yet, but he believed it was a starting point and that future advancements would solve the problem. Swedenborg acknowledged the challenge, noting that the machine would need greater force and less weight than a human body, suggesting a strong spiral spring as a potential power source. Despite knowing the challenges, Swedenborg remained optimistic, believing that future advancements in mechanics could bring his vision to life. While his design was not practical at the time, it was considered the first rational proposal for a heavier-than-air flying machine, which was written in the editor of the Royal Aeronautical Society journal in 1910. Meanwhile, rotorcraft were not wholly forgotten. In July 1754, Mikhail Lomonosov showcased a small twin-rotor system powered by a spring to the Russian Academy of Sciences. The rotors were positioned one above the other and rotated in opposite directions, a design still seen in modern twin-rotor aircraft. Later in 1768, Alexis Jean-Pierre Pauton proposed a concept in his work Théorie de la vis d'Archimède, suggesting the use of one rotor for lift and another for propulsion, now known as a gyrodyne. And a gyrodyne is a type of VTOL aircraft, that's vertical takeoff and landing aircraft, with a helicopter rotor-like system that is driven by its engine for takeoff and landing only, and includes one or more conventional propeller or jet engines to provide forward thrust during cruising flights. Then in 1784, Lenoir and Bienvenu presented a model with coaxial contra-rotating rotors powered by a simple spring mechanisms, recognized as the earliest powered helicopter design. People kept trying to make machines that could fly using human power. One idea was a rotorcraft, a flying machine with rotating parts which was powered by a person. Another approach, inspired by Leonardo da Vinci, involved using flap valves on wings. These valves controlled the airflow, allowing the machines to maneuver, and one early example was designed by Bauer in 1764. In 1808, Jacob Dragan built an ornithopter with flap valves. The pilot stood on a rigid frame and moved the wings with a horizontal bar. Although his first attempt in 1809 failed, he added a small hydrogen balloon, and the combination managed to hop short distances. However, illustrations at the time often showed his machine without the balloon, causing confusions as to what had actually flown. In 1811, Albert Beblinger tried to fly a similar ornithopter without a balloon. Unfortunately, he crashed into the Danube River. This event inspired George Cayley to publish his ideas on flight, which helped shape the future of aviation. And guys, stay tuned, because in the next video we'll be talking about George Cayley and the Wright brothers. And guys, there's also someone I skipped, and he goes by the name Diego Marin Aguilera. Diego Marin Aguilera, which dates 1757 to 1799, was a Spanish inventor and early aviation pioneer known for his attempts to build a flying machine called Pájaro Mecánico, and that's the mechanical bird. Born in Spain, Marin was the eldest of 8 children and had to support his family from a young age. While working as an agricultural laborer, he was inspired by birds and spent his spare time studying their flights. And guys, if you can remember, this was the same approach that was used by Da Vinci. Using his knowledge of mechanics and lightweight materials like hollow metal tubing, Marin designed a craft with hand and foot cranks for propulsion, covered in bird feathers for lift. On May 15, 1793, Marin launched his flying machine from a high point in Corona de Conde. With the help of his sister and a blacksmith, he achieved a brief but successful flight, reaching a height of about 20 feet and flying over the city at the Arandela River. Despite his achievement, Marin was ridiculed by the townspeople and his flying machine was destroyed. That's what happened there was that the inhabitants of the town, believing him to be a lunatic, heretic, or a fraud, burned his demonic, which they said, demonic flapping wing creation, and Marin lost all hope and, feeling disgraced and deeply depressed, never attempted flight again, and he died 6 years later, never pursuing his dream of flight. But guys, the thing here to learn is that Marin's story illustrates that even without formal education, individuals like him can achieve remarkable feats with determination and ingenuity. And that's because Marin was a shepherd with no formal education, which history made us believe though, but he was able to design and build a flying machine that was ahead of his time. And lastly, Marin's story is also a reminder that even the most humble of people can achieve great things if they set their minds to it. So guys, this is the end for today's episode, and see you in the next episode where we'll talk about other pioneers in the 19th century and their contributions and inspirations to modern day aviation. And this is where we'll see George Cayley, the Wright brothers, and the study of aerodynamics, which led to modern day aviation, or which inspired modern day aviation rather. So guys, let me hear your thoughts in the comment section, and once again, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you and see you soon.